If you're in the market for a NAS right now, it's worth pausing for a second before you spend any money. UGREEN just announced a new model, and where it slots in kind of changes how you should think about buying anything in this price range. So here is everything up front. If you're a heavy Plex or Jellyfin user and you rely on Intel's QuickSync, you should probably just go buy an Intel UGREEN model today. With that said, if you want ECC, dual 10 gigabit networking, and enterprise class storage, the new GT models might be worth waiting for. That's basically the entire decision. Before we get into it, I want to thank UGREEN for sponsoring this video and sending me both new GT models. To be clear, there are a lot of these now, so let me quickly map out where everything sits from a 4-bay NAS perspective for UGREEN before we go deeper. I'm going to exclude the DH4300, but at the bottom, you've got the DXP4800, which is the N100 entry model. It is the cheapest and lowest power, and it's totally fine for basic file storage. Then there's the DXP4800 Plus, which is a popular pick with an Intel CPU, DDR5, one 10 gigabit port, and has QuickSync for transcoding. Above that is the Pro, which has the same Intel and QuickSync benefits, just with slightly better performance. Then we have the new one, the DXP4800 GT, which is AMD instead of Intel and gives you ECC support, dual 10 gigabit networking, and U.2, but you do give up QuickSync. So it's this middle ground option that didn't really exist before, and that's the part that makes it worth waiting. Now here's the part that's actually interesting to me. The GT isn't just the next rung up on the ladder, it's more like a fork in the road. You've got the Intel path, which is the Plus and the Pro, and that's what you should use if you care about QuickSync. But now you've got the GT, which goes a completely different direction. So let's talk about the biggest change, which is that UGREEN replaced Intel with AMD. The new chip is the AMD R2514, a 4-core, 8-thread embedded Ryzen processor. Now this is a server class chip with integrated graphics, and that matters for a couple of reasons. The big one is that it's what unlocks ECC, and you also get more CPU headroom than the old N100 device, but it's not a pure benefit. I keep bringing up Intel's QuickSync because it is really, really good at transcoding. And if you're running Plex or Jellyfin and you lean on hardware transcoding, QuickSync has been the gold standard for years. To be clear, this device will not compete there. AMD's graphics can transcode, but its support isn't as clean as it is on the Intel side. So the real question for a lot of you becomes, would you give up QuickSync to get ECC and two 10 gigabit NICs? For some people, that's an easy yes. For others, it's not a simple question to answer. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into the enterprise features because that's really where this thing starts to differ. First up is ECC, which is a first for a UGREEN NAS. If you're not familiar, ECC stands for Error Correcting Code Memory, and it basically catches and corrects memory errors before they get written to disk and corrupt your data. ECC is something that everyone would benefit from, and from a data integrity perspective, it is superior to non-ECC RAM. The best and only real argument against ECC RAM that I've heard is that you don't need it for basic file storage. But there's no real debate that it's simply better for NAS devices. The one issue, and I want to be honest here, is that it ships with 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM and the included RAM is not ECC. So the support is there in the platform, but the module in the box isn't using it. If I'm being honest here, I really just wish it shipped with ECC or at least gave you the option to pay more for it because it'd be a massive selling point. But that's what you're dealing with here. You get support, but it's something that you need to upgrade to on your own. Next is the dual 10 gigabit networking. Compared to the DXP4800 with two 2.5 gigabit ports, or the Plus with one 10 gigabit and one 2.5, this is a real increase in both speed and flexibility. Then there's the drive bays, which combines SATA and U.2 connectors, so you can run high-performance U.2 enterprise SSDs in this device. So again, the support is there, but who actually benefits from this? Mainly power users, because this isn't an ordinary consumer NAS offering, and there's no doubt that it's genuinely unusual at this tier. And I don't know of another NAS device in this form factor that supports that. On top of that, you get 4 SATA bays with up to 32 terabyte drives each, 2 M.2 NVMe slots, 10 gig USB and HDMI out, and a built-in SD card slot. There's also wide third-party drive compatibility, so you're not locked into a vendor list, which I still can't believe I have to say these days. From a software perspective, UGREEN NAS devices run UGOS, their in-house operating system, and I've been testing it for over 2 years now. It's gone from something I honestly didn't really like to one that I'm comfortable recommending. I've mentioned this in a few videos, but what they've done is slowly improve the stuff that actually matters without adding on a bunch of useless apps, and that's how we got things like BTRFS volumes with snapshot support. It supports just about everything you need, offers easy ways to back up your NAS, store your photos, and more. They also just released a surveillance center application that lets you connect on-VIF cameras for local recording and playback. Once it's added, it'll allow you to configure retention periods, capacity limits, and events, and basically just manage the camera as a traditional NVR. Overall, it's a good beginner NAS operating system, and I've got a full guide on setting it up if you want to go deeper. Now let's talk about the trade-offs, because there are a few real ones, and I want to be straight up about them. The first is the big one, which is no quick sync, which we already spoke about various times. The second is that the included RAM isn't ECC, so you get the capability, but not the benefit straight out of the box. The third is that it's a brand new AMD platform, and UGOS has been built and tested on Intel hardware for years. I haven't run into any major issues in my short time with it, but new hardware means new drivers and a shorter track record, so it's something that you should be aware of. The fourth is that the OS runs from eMMC, not an M.2 slot like on older models. So if you wanted to run TrueNAS or Unraid, you really shouldn't install it onto eMMC. The workaround is to put your third-party OS on one of the two M.2 slots instead, which means you're giving up one of those to do it. I've done that a few times now, and it's not the end of the world, but it is a compromise because you are technically losing one of those slots. With that said, this is exactly how I have TrueNAS installed on my UGREEN NAS devices. And if you want to see that video, I'll leave a pop-up for it now. Finally, the last one is DDR4 instead of DDR5 in the Plus and Pro, which is minor for a NAS device, but it's worth mentioning. So the big question then becomes, if you're in the market for a new NAS, should you wait or should you buy today? And here's how I'd break it down. You should buy now if you need the storage today. If your current setup is failing or you just don't have one and you need it, there are great and in some cases even more powerful options in the UGREEN lineup right now. You should also buy now if you're Plex or Jellyfin heavy and you rely on QuickSync because the GT just isn't going to serve you in that way. You should wait if you can hold off for a bit. If you want maximum future-proofing or if you specifically want ECC, 10 gigabit and U.2 in this price range. With that said, I don't have pricing right this second, but it should slot right around that DXP4800 Plus pricing. To be clear, nothing in the current lineup offers any of the features that this device offers, and it's a genuinely powerful device, and that's what separates it from the others. Now, I want to take a minute to talk about Synology on its own, because this is the comparison most of you are actually going to be making. If you're shopping at this price point, the GT is going up against the Synology DS925 Plus, and the two of them are coming at this from completely different angles. Here's the way I'd frame it. With Synology, you're paying a premium for software. You get a more mature operating system, a deeper app ecosystem, and years of polish, and for some people, that might be worth it. With the GT, you're paying a more reasonable price for drastically better hardware, but the software is younger and not as mature. So it really comes down to what you value more. If you want the most refined software experience or genuinely powerful hardware that provides a ton of flexibility. I've got a full Synology versus UGREEN video that goes way deeper on this exact thing, and I'll leave a link below for it in the description if you want to see it for yourself. So to bring it all back, most people who can wait probably should. This is a genuinely powerful device in a great form factor with some unique enterprise features. With that said, I'm curious where you land. Would you give up QuickSync for ECC and dual 10 gigabit networking? Synology did this a few years ago with the switch from Intel to AMD, and it was a complete mixed bag. But UGREEN isn't removing the other options, they're just adding to them, which I think makes it a lot easier to swallow. I'll leave links for my setup guide and a few other videos in the description if you want to go deeper on either of those. but I hope you got some value out of this video. If you're interested in picking up the GT model, use the link in the description to get 20% off. Thanks again to UGREEN for sending me these devices. And if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.